See, I think we're live. Alright, I see levels on the mic, so I guess we're good to go. Alright, how's everybody doing? This is a new stream. We're gonna try and do some creature modeling by popular demand. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let me just make sure everything's working here. Okay, looks good. Okay, I think we're good. Let me know in the chat. I'm running a new setup here, so let me know if like the audio needs balancing or anything like that. Cool. All right, so yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So we've got a brand new blank level, or scene. I've got a little bit of reference. I've got some sketches here that Harrison did. So this is the little dude that we're gonna be working on, and the idea for him is he's kind of like a cross between the Skags from Borderlands and the Sandworms from Dune. I found this picture. It's a model kit sandworm. That's pretty cool. Oh, my voice is a little quiet. Let's see if I can fix that. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't see any gain settings in here. Does it sound better if I'm closer to the mic? Maybe I can do that. Alright, we'll give that a try. Alright, so yeah, I got a kick out of finding this. I wish, it would have been pretty cool growing up in the 80s and going to your hobby store and finding a model kit sandworm. I think that would be pretty darn cool. So we're going to do the next best thing, and we're going to make our own little grub. And so yeah, so the lore with these guys is these are basically like baby sandworms, and they grow into those. And this will inevitably be like some kind of like big boss for the desert area. Alright. Well, let's see, so jumping right in, start with my scale reference. So we've got our Unreal mannequin here. And let's see. So yeah, we'll just start blocking it out. And so these guys will be probably like, half human height. Something like that. moving my reference over so I can see it. Yeah, we'll definitely have like a little, just in the blueprint, they can have like our kind of random scale multiplier. And there could even be like variations where, you know, like there's what the bigger ones have more health than the littler ones. You know, and the main difference is basically just their size. Maybe they have slightly different color on their textures. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and let everyone know I'm live. Yeah, he was custom. I think my Wacom pen might be giving up the ghost. It's starting to like only, it's like not clicking perfectly consistently like it should. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just kind of getting a really, really rough blocking, and this is just going to be something that I just start sculpting on in ZBrush. I mean, it's up as high as it goes. Can you adjust your volume on Twitch? I mean, they're up pretty high. Well, no, because it was fine on YouTube. I don't know. And it's fine when I do voice calls and stuff. Let's see. Let me give it a try. Does that sound different? Check, check. Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, I'm watching the levels and they're, you know, pretty near maximum. Let me pull up the stream and listen to it. Try that. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it sounds okay to me. I don't know. If anyone else shows up, you can let us know if it sounds still a little too quiet or not. Alright, back to this grub. Hopefully my pen tablet doesn't give me too much trouble. And so yeah, I'm just blocking this in really rough. I'm gonna bring it into ZBrush pretty quickly, and we will, in there, run a Dynamesh, and then we can kind of sculpt on all of these pieces to refine and unify them. I'm just using Maya to get a base. Yeah, that kind of inverted sort of dog leg kind of thing. For those just joining, we're modeling this guy, and our inspirations are the dune sandworms and the borderlands skags. Harrison, who's the other dev, he works with me on McSpacebiff and streams on here too. He's in the chat. He says that the idea for the grubs is that they are the inverse of frogs in terms of how they evolve. They start out as little frogs, and then their arms and legs recede over time until they are eventually big sandworms. Yes. And these little ones, they start out like that, then they grow into this, potentially very large versions of this, and then those largest grow into these, something that'll be probably a lot like that. And then these little ones just kind of hop at you and explode into goo. But these are a little more like skags. They kind of run and chase you and bite. And there might be like spitter versions too, kind of like Borderlands. Oops. All right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the little ones will behave like the flood variants from Halo. Exactly. I think these guys are going to add some much needed variety to our enemy roster. Everything we've got now is, I mean, it's got a bit of variation already. You know, we've got robots and aliens and people. So that's a little bit of variation already, but they're all humanoid. Except for the drones. The drones aren't humanoid. So everything is either humanoid or robot. So this is going to be fun to have something a little different. Go ahead and save my file. Save early and save often. Because Maya is out to get you. It will crash. What I just had to do there was just add a 0 to the clipping pane, because scale in Maya is weird. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, right now the mesh is reminding me of the Hound Eye from Half-Life 1. And yeah, with the face just kind of left alone, it is basically a Hound Eye from Half-Life 1. So that's cool. Maybe it'll maintain a little bit of that into the final version. Who knows? We'll just have to stick around to the end of the stream to find out. Maybe we should take bets. Will the last vote on if you think the final is going to look like the Hound Eye from Half-Life 1? Some of the best ideas are built on iteration of other good ideas. Very true. Very true. I never have a problem with stealing a good idea, as long as it's a good idea and I'm adding some kind of spin to it. And I kind of think that it's kind of impossible not to add a little bit of spin when you're making something, you know, no matter how like inspired by something else it may be. Like just by virtue of, you know, building it yourself, I think you're going to sort of inherently add your own spin. I mean, unless you're just actually, you know, overtly trying to rip something off in bad faith, right? Which is obviously not what we're ever trying to do. This is going to be the tricky part. It's this weird mouth, sandworm mouth thing. And what's especially going to be tricky is we're going to have to find some way to work on the outside of it and the inside of it. I think we need to move all of this a little bit forward to make some room for the arms. Which are going to be hilarious. Doesn't look like much yet, but hang in there. We're getting somewhere slowly, slow and steady. I'm not sure how intimidating these things will be. I guess a lot of that will come down to how we balance them in gameplay. Anything's intimidating if it can one-shot you, no matter how silly it is. That would honestly be hilarious. Just have like just design the most silly looking creature, but make it like just ridiculously strong. There's got to be some examples of something like that from games. I can't think of any off the top of my head, though. Oh yeah, that would be cool. Have the occasional behemoth version just kind of spawn out of the ground. You know, that'd be really cool. That'd give you like a reason to run. I kind of love it when you come across situations in games where it's like the smartest thing to do is actually just run. You know, because like most games, like especially like RPGs or whatever, it's like, or like open world games, there's always some way to kind of cheese the fight, you know? Just kind of like grind through it, just like slog through the fight, barely making it. But that's why I like Stalker so much, is because it's just like 99% of the time the best thing to do is run. Yeah, the Black Knight in Dark Souls 1, the one in the Undead Burg. Well, and he was kind of out of the way, so you didn't really have to deal with him. But if you stumbled across him, you would definitely want to run. Oh, and if you got your souls stuck up there. This feels a little forward weighted. That's a little better. Yeah, I think that's a little better. Alright. Enough cubes. Let's get this guy into ZBrush. Alright, so ZBrush is awesome. For now, I'm gonna just ignore the arms, because we can always kind of just add them later. I'm thinking all this will kind of be one piece. And we'll just start from there. Obviously it'll all eventually be kind of like one piece. But we will do some stuff like I'll probably make the legs here be like actual separate topology for UV reasons. Possibly, maybe the same with the arms, not sure. Glad you're digging it so far. And yeah, the top lip, this one is a little bigger. So let me split them again. So it should come out further, you're saying? And meet the others in the middle. Yeah. Welcome to the stream, guys. We're just kind of hanging out, doing some creature design. This is going to be a sort of Sort of sandworm, sort of skag-inspired creature. Lives in the desert areas. Well, they'll be everywhere. We'll have different versions. There'll be like desert versions and like jungle versions. Maybe even red versions. But yeah, they're basically just like this little, not super dangerous, little bit of local wildlife. Some of them will probably be like tamed and domesticated. You'll find marauders with some like trained as attack dogs and stuff like that. Yeah, that could be cool too. If some of the marauders actually rode them like horses. That'd be crazy. Looks like somehow this has gotten a little off-centered. ZBrush symmetry tool's kind of letting me down here. Whoa. Oh no, I just hit import instead of export. Oops. Hang on. Yeah, big oops. Try that again. There we go. Now it's at least symmetrical. Managing symmetry across multiple different programs is quite annoying at times. Alright, go ahead and save this before I make any more big mistakes. think what the best way to do this is, because I want to be able to really detail the inside of the mouth. So it may be best to make the modeling pose have the mouth open. Yeah, but I also want to make sure they connect. The fanciest way to do it would be with a Z-sphere rig. But those would be a little tedious, time-consuming to set up. I think probably what I'll do is I'm just going to model it open, and, you know, just kind of expect that I'll have to come in and do a reshaping pass. When you're doing stuff like this, it's important to turn on back face mask, which I've got a little shortcut there for. That stops your brushes from pulling geometry from the other side all the way through. Yeah, I know, I use that all the time. It would take forever to try to model topology like that. What's up, MSim Cook? You haven't missed too much. We started out in Maya. We are making this guy here. Harrison did this sketch. So this is like a baby sandworm. These are the like tadpole versions, then they grow into those, and then those grow into like giant dune sandworms, which will be some kind of big boss fight. And so the inspirations for these guys were kind of drawing from the Skags from Borderlands quite a bit. And yeah, trying to hopefully come up with something kind of unique, kind of blend some elements together. We started out here in Maya, just started with some cubes and just sort of roughed in these, very basic pieces. And then now we're in ZBrush and we're trying to kind of work out these jaws, which I have a feeling are going to be a little tricky. Probably take several passes to kind of get them right, and might even involve a little bit of like kind of intermediate rigging, like while we're still sculpting. Yeah, Harrison says they go frog baby, tadpole with legs, then sandworm. Absolutely. How's the stream quality holding up? Can you guys hear me all right? Does the performance look okay? I'm using a new setup. Awesome. And then the other cool thing is I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, so I'll try to read the comments out in case you can't see them yourself. So yeah, if I'm commenting on something and you don't see it in the chat, that's probably why. So I think what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and try to kind of mash this back. This is why we're gonna need a rig. Oh, now it looks like the super mutant hounds from Fallout 4. This guy's gonna be like all kinds of video game creatures. Yeah, so MSim Cook says this is me making way for and making sure the model affords the animations that we'll have later, seeing how the mouth moves and bends. And yeah, that's correct. I'm trying to make sure that, like, basically it'll look good in both poses, open and closed. And I also want to be able to model the, inside, so that it's got cool details and stuff in there. So yeah, so I wanted to make sure it would kind of look good open. Now I'm kind of checking on it closed again. Eventually I'm gonna have to actually put together a rig to be able to deform the ZBrush sculpt both ways. because as you can see, like when I just sort of roughly pose it like this, it creates a lot of problems. He looks surprised. Oh yeah, this is the rough stuff. It's probably not gonna look right for quite a while. ZBrush can look unlike anything else in terms of just how bad a mesh can look for such a long time. Yeah. Yeah, suggestion to bring the edges of the upper lip down to meet the others. That's good. Here's another magic thing about ZBrush. See how it's starting to get all twisted from that major move? I can just regenerate my Dynamesh. Boom. Clean it right up. Question, do I find myself having to re-evaluate that going from high poly to low, or does it transfer pretty well from an animation standpoint? Let's see, I might be missing some of that might be specifically in regard to something I was doing earlier. But as far as like, you know, keeping track of the principles of modeling from high poly to low, you know, it's pretty easy to go back and forth. Kind of just comes from practice of having done it a lot. Got a comment. The mouth currently reminds me of the goopy version of Hexus from Fern Gully. I don't know what that is. pictures. Let me, and then there's a link. Okay, yeah, whatever this is. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Definitely going to be tricky working on the inside. We can cross that bridge when we get there. There's plenty to work on right now. Yes, ZBrush is dope. You are correct. One of my, by far, favorite programs. One of the few good programs to survive. Yeah, pretty different. Comment, it's cool to go to something like this from the backpack. It's different, it's cool going for something different from the backpack to something like this, an organic creature. And yeah, it is a lot of fun. Never a dull moment in game design when you're a, solo or, micro team. You get to do it all. You get to do all the fun stuff and all the not fun stuff. But it's worth it for the fun stuff. And this is definitely some of the fun stuff. So eventually this will be kind of like unioned, merged with the main body. But I'm gonna kind of keep them I'm gonna keep them just as separate meshes for the time being, to give me a little more control over like massive proportion shifts. It's like, see, this way I can like reshape the tail without worrying about messing up the legs. for real. Hard surface modeling and soft surface sculpting are so different they might as well be entirely different sections of game dev. They are basically their own trade. That is certainly true. And if you look at, like job listings at like AAA studios, under the art departments, there usually are openings for hard surface artist versus, organic character creature artist. They're usually different jobs. But I could never stick to just one or the other. I'd get bored. Let's see, I think I'm gonna need to break out smooth stronger. This is one of those little like pro hacks. There's all these extra brushes hidden in ZBrush. And this is one of the most important ones, smooth stronger. It's just like smooth, only stronger. Concept has these little kind of gill type things, trying to get them sort of roughed in, or at least get an idea. The gill vents are inverse. Let's see. So you don't mean the angle. Oh, you mean like they cut in instead of building up and out? I see what you're saying. I kind of like how this is looking though. Let's see, let me save this as a version. We can give it a try cutting them in it instead of building them out. That's going to be a little... Wait a minute, how is this not the same as them being cut in? I mean, they're just cut in like that. Right, I just build up the surface to make this the neutral point. See what I'm saying? Hey Troopzor, how's it going? Troopzor says that our boy here is adorable. Troopzor, we are making this guy. This is a sketch by, an original sketch by Harrison, and it's kind of inspired by the Skags from Borderlands and the sandworms from the original Dune, not the new Dune. Yeah. And so we're just kind of hanging out, trying to bring this guy to life and arguing about which way his gills go. These are gills, by the way, for him to breathe sand. Living the dream. That's what I like to hear. How does he breathe sand, one may ask? Don't ask lame questions like that. Leave that to all the space biologists out there. They'll find it. They'll figure it out. If you take the time to ask the question, you're already dead. So true. So true. These guys aren't gonna wait for you to ask how they breathe sand. They're just gonna eat you. Be cool to have like special effect or something where, because these guys are gonna kind of like, you know, like explode up out of the ground, you know, to catch the player by surprise and keep you on your toes. Be cool to have like an animation where they kind of like come up and like snort and like sand just kind of like shoots out of these little vents. That would be pretty cool. Alright, I'm over detailing these things. Gotta keep moving. Gotta keep moving. We've still got legs to worry about. Oh, I hate that. You get fixated and you're like, yeah, this is looking good. And then you come back and it's like, oh no. They can be bionic legs. Sure. But then we've got to make these aren't going to pass those just bionic legs though. I mean, we still got to make them look awesome. Then we got to do hard surface modeling. And Strog grub. Take this to a Quake 4 kind of place. Crazy how fast forks can turn into feet. So true. So true. You gotta keep an eye on your forks. one moment of inattention and they turn into feet. The Moonian enhanced some wounded creatures they rescued from the wild, and now they can sprint and jump at insane heights and speeds. So yeah, we're doing a little improv lore development here, I guess. I guess we're gonna have a subclass of grub, which is like bionically enhanced, super dangerous grubs. That's honestly how like most of our ideas we come up with. All of that kind of stuff just sort of like, oh, what if we did this? Actually, that's awesome. And then you just do it. So my ZBrush workflow is pretty straightforward. I've made another video about it, but it really just kind of comes down to like 5 brushes. And that's clay tubes, move, dam standard, smooth, and polish. I don't know how many that was, I didn't count them, but it's, you know, not many. But this brush I'm using right now is clay tubes. It's very good for kind of like carving off or building up, depending on if you use it in add or subtract mode, which you can do by just pressing Alt, just switches between add and subtract. So in subtract it carves off like that, in add it builds up like that, and then smooth, just kind of, you know, obviously smooths. It's pretty nice. So if you've got, you know, something that's kind of square and you're trying to make it look a little more organic, it's an easy way to just sort of like carve off the edge and then just sort of hit it with smooth. Just like that. It's not too hard. And so I find, you know, combining with Maya, using Maya to just sort of get, like, just literally put, you know, boxes in place where you want your main forms to be. That works pretty good. Because then it's, you know, relatively easy to just sort of come in and just sort of chisel away the edges. Yeah. Yeah, Harrison's hanging out in the Twitch chat, and he's saying that pretty much the whole plot of McSpacebiff has just sort of been come up with just sort of improvisationally. Like it pretty much all just sort of started as like a stupid joke, and then we were like, yeah, but what if we actually did that? I think it's a good way to write a story. It's fun, at least. Well, thanks, MSim Cook. Glad you're digging it. Glad you're along for this ridiculous ride. Something about those feet is not looking right. It's okay, just stay calm. Just stay calm. We're gonna get there. Hot dog toes, perhaps. They're probably not helping. Oh my goodness. I don't know about that. Chat is blowing up with insanity that I can't possibly read back fast enough. As for the comment about isolating parts of the mesh easily, that's because these are all separate subtools. So once I merge all of this stuff together, it won't be quite so easy to do that, but I can at least still use masking and stuff like that. This is just not looking right. Something about the weight or the balance or something. It's shifted too much back. Small. You know what? Maybe this doesn't look right because I don't have the arms. Might be part of it anyway. Yeah, it could be that the legs are too long. Yeah, that could be it. Whoa. Classic ZBrush. Yeah, I think this is helping. Although, before we go too crazy here, I'd better bring this guy in. That looks about right. Kind of getting somewhere. This is actually pretty helpful having you guys in the chat, because it's like after staring at this stuff for a long time, you kind of start to not be able to see it, whereas you guys can kind of see it fresh. It's actually pretty helpful. Yeah, the bottom needs to be a little flatter, and the top back should be higher, more of a curve upwards. Bottom and top should meet in the middle with the tail. Not quite sure what that means. You mean like the curve? Like they should like slope at the same rate? Yeah, it's crazy what a difference subtle things can make. Sorry, my email is blowing up. Hopefully my desktop is muted. Yeah, it looks like it is. suggestions for finding like a lab where they're like experimenting on these guys. Oh yeah, we'll definitely do that. I'm not putting all this work into modeling this guy to not have them like in a lab somewhere too. That's such classic game design stuff, and one of the reasons is because you get to reuse your character art as environment art, and it's just cool. So yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll also probably have like camps where you find them like being like spit roasted over campfires and stuff like that. And then it'll also be sort of like an in-world lore thing, like this is like what nomads eat. A side quest where you free them back into the world. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, shatter the jars and they burrow back down into the ground. I like that. Maybe they come back and help you later. Is that where you're going with that? Yeah, yeah, lets you ride it. Yeah, that'd be cool. It's a Dune version of Torrent from Elden Ring. Yeah. Now, it's funny you mentioned that because we were kind of thinking, since the game's going to be open world and probably somewhat large, we would have some kind of like steed. But we were thinking to be more of like some kind of sci-fi bird, something like that. Maybe, yeah, maybe this could be like it could be like a reskin of it or something. Could be pretty cool. Or maybe they just kind of like show up later and help you. All right. Let's see. So I think in order to get the hands right, they need little claws. So I'll probably hop back over to Maya to make some claws, and then bring this back to detail them again. We've come a long way here in a short amount of time, almost 2 hours. From nothing to this little monster to what we have now. That's pretty cool. pick out some kind of claw-like material just for fun. Oops. Just made a mistake. Didn't mean to do that. I'm doing that on my little exported mesh, not on my source mesh. Gotta pay attention to stuff like that. What's going on here? Why is my oh, that's why. I turned off the add. Hey, it doesn't always go this way. I've had, you know, many projects where it's a real struggle. You know, even recently. It is definitely nice when things come together easily, though. Especially when you're streaming. Looks like we got some new people joining. What's up, everybody? We're modeling this creature. We started today from nothing, so we've gotten this far in a little under 2 hours. This is the concept. Got this sketch here, which Harrison did. Harrison's the other guy working on McSpacebiff with me. He did this sketch, and it's kind of inspired by Borderlands and Dune. The old Dune, not the new Dune. Well, new Dune is cool, but the old Dune, if you know, you know. And yeah, and so we've just been kind of working on this. Started with a really rough Maya block-in. This thing right here. And then we've been in ZBrush for a little bit, and we're just kind of adding some details. And these are going to be some creatures for the game, for our game Captain McSpacebiff, where you're an astronaut exploring a strange alien planet. And yeah, these things will be, you know, you'll encounter them in the wild a lot. They'll be kind of like skags from Borderlands. They kind of like burrow up out of the ground and fight you. Oh yeah, and these are, the idea is these grow into sandworms eventually. And there will be some kind of giant sandworm boss fight at some point in the game. Or at least like a homage where you see one like, you know, driving across the horizon somewhere, something like that. Trying to figure out what to do with this hand. It's a little tricky. Might be just about time to start trying to merge these things. I'm thinking what I might do about the mouth is basically leave this like this, and then do retopology here, and then basically rig that to open the mouth, then import that opened mouth back in here and do like a sculpt just on the inside. Then I could bake that all down into textures. That might be the best way to do that. I love that about ZBrush. You can just merge these things and then just redo your Dynamesh. Boom. Yeah, super, super handy. Oh man, that's an interesting idea. I don't know about that. I know it seems like that. Yeah, exactly. We gotta pick our battles. Toes should be shorter. Yeah, maybe. I think this is part of the problem too, this angle. This needs to be more like something like that. It needs to come down at more of like a 45. One too many toes. You should have 2 toes. How do you balance with just 2 toes? The fine line between wanting to kill them and having immense pity for them. So true. So true, because they're just going to always be attacking you, so you can't not kill them, you know, but they're so cute. Thanks, glad you're liking how it's turning out. I'm pretty happy with it too. I'm tempted to go real crazy sculpting a lot of details on the skin, but I'm thinking this is probably going to be one of those times when it's better to do it like by hand in the texture. I mean, he'll probably still have a normal map, but, you know, it doesn't have to, like, carry a ton of detail with it. How do I determine what kind of detail is best made in the high poly and what is best used in the texture? I guess I'd say the most determining factor is how 3D it is. So like all of this, like it's like very leathery, like it's gonna be very like, you know, kind of, you know, like we want it to be like this kind of not quite like that dune worm texture, but like, and not quite like this either. Like so like not if it was like this, if it was like this skag armor, I would sculpt it, because that's like a very like 3D, you know, has a lot of depth. Like if it was that kind of thing, I'd sculpt it, but because I'm thinking it's going to be a lot flatter by nature, I'll just paint it, right? But like the gills, you know, I could have just painted the gills too, right? Like I could have just modeled all of this flat and then just gone in with a black brush and just drawn those. But I feel like those are like deep enough, like they'd be a big enough surface change that it's worth modeling. So I modeled that in, and then I'll probably I'm trying to give it like a little bit of feeling like, you know, like there's like bone under the skin, and so I'm kind of trying to like, that's kind of what I'm attempting here with this little like ridge. So I'm trying to make it look like, you know, there's like a skeleton like under the skin, you know, and it's like thin. So like folds, you know, like folds in skin, that kind of stuff, I think, you know, is good for sculpted details. Um, Everything inside the mouth, I'll sculpt. I'll sculpt those, like, you know, like ridges on the inside. But yeah, like the rest, like as far as like actual like texture on the skin, like it's all gonna be color. That's that's what it is. Is it color or shape, you know? And if it's just color, then it goes in the texture. So yeah, maybe that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Cool, cool. Glad that makes sense. It's hard to put things into words. But I'm always happy to try. So I'm kind of playing around the same idea here, kind of trying to think like, you know, because it's like the body is like fat, so it's got like, you know, it's all smooth, but like the legs and arms would probably be like thinner, so trying to kind of hint at that. Overall, I think I'm decently happy with this sculpt, like even already just as is. And so probably the next step is going to be retopology, and I guess with the added step of sculpting the inside of the mouth. That's a good point, you know. Yeah, I should probably do something here to like kind of hint at the fact that it's a weak spot, because they'll have probably two weak spots: the inside the mouth, which will be hard to hit because you'll only be able to hit it like while they're playing their attack animation, but then under here, like the underbelly should be soft, and that should be a weak spot too. And since, yeah, like they will be able to lunge at you and they'll get stuck kind of tipped over, then you'll have that chance to shoot them down there. And so I should try to make it clear that they're weaker there. And of course, most of this will be done in the texture too. You know, like it'll be a different color, like a more like pinkish color probably, whereas the rest of their skin will be more like brown. But I can kind of, this is the kind of thing that I think kind of makes sense to include a bit in the geometry. Could be yellow. Could be. Yellow bellies. Yeah, what is it about just kind of general vague ridges that just screams weak point? Now you tell me after I finish sculpting it. Oh, I see. Yeah, guess I could do that. think that looks like a weak spot. Perfect. Thanks for reminding me. I nearly forgot about that. And then there will be pretty much the same kind of texture, I think, on the inside of the mouth. Oh, that could be interesting. Probably don't want to add too much custom animation work to the acid versions of them, though. Not to mention that would take custom rigging too. For those of you not on Twitch, someone was suggesting when they go to some of these guys will be acid spitters, like in Borderlands, and this could like inflate like a balloon to give you a warning that they were gonna do that. Which would be cool, don't get me wrong, but maybe that would be cool for McSpacebiff too. When I can not be the only person sculpting and rigging all of this stuff. Alright, not too bad. What do y'all think? Is this done? Are we back? Yeah, that's a good idea. You could animate them just leaning back and that could become visible. That's smart. Top of the legs, like this area here. Let's see. It's kind of hard to tell. These leg knees kind of look pointier too. Oh, the bottom, like this part, like this kind of like little pants, pant leg. Yeah, these need to blend a little more together. Yeah. I could merge them, but I kind of also feel like there would be sort of like there is sort of like a natural change. Maybe they should be merged actually. Let's try it. I might have turned that number too high. Oh, never mind, we're good. Yeah, for those of you on YouTube, the Twitch chat is discussing this guy, which is like the first form. Like these are like the baby version of this, and they just kind of like bobble around, chase after you, or kind of hop. And when they get close to you, they just explode, like the little floods from Halo. But yeah, that'll be one of those things where it's like you kind of feel bad for killing them because they're just so funny. They're just doing their best, you know. Yeah, those are gonna be so funny. That's kind of a core tenet, I think, of McSpacebiff is like, it's like everything, like I kind of want everything in it to be like kind of hilarious, but like at the same time kind of scary and badass. And that's kind of a difficult balance to strike, but we're trying our best. I think these guys are gonna strike that balance. 'Cause they're pretty silly, but I think when they're actually like, you know, when the chips are down and you've got the difficulty turned up all the way to hard and you know you're down to your last mag, they're gonna be kind of scary too. This is getting somewhere. Oh, that might have been a mistake. Uh-oh. Noticed there was a little asymmetrical part, so I tried running re-symmetry. Might have been a mistake. We'll see what happens. Give it a couple minutes. Yeah, so far pretty much everything in the game is both silly and pretty dangerous. The moonbots look pretty silly. It's pretty hard to take them seriously when you see them walking around, but then they attack you and and then you better run. ZBrush might be frozen. Let's see when I saved my last iteration. It's about 10 minutes old. I might have to force quit ZBrush. Yeah, RIP. Well, we made it all the way to, we pretty much got that whole guy sculpted before we had any technical problems. And that was just dumb on my part. I should have saved before running resymmetry. Oh no, I actually lost a little bit of progress. Lost all those tweaks to the legs. That sucks. Oh well. It'll be better this time. The pants. Oh yeah, well what was it you were saying? You were saying I should scale up the legs before merging? Now I've got a chance to do that. I didn't see that comment in time earlier. Let's see, what was it? You said scale them up or down? Scale down. Let's see, so like smaller legs. .75. There are no units of measure in ZBrush. Oh yeah, there are. It's right there. 0.75, 0.8, something like that. It's true what I said about units of measure. That there are percentages, I guess. Also, this little gizmo is relatively new. Okay, something like that. Yeah, you've got a knack for that. Picking out like the just the right number. This is a pretty cool way to collaborate on a model. Like it's pretty neat, like being able to get feedback in real time like this, or nearly real time. Oh no, I already did it. I mean, they're pretty close. Yeah, for those of you that are on YouTube, I'm going back and forth with Harrison, who's the other dev, does all of our like level design and did the sketch of this creature, came up with this creature design, and so we're kind of going back and forth on, you know, how to like little design details. Pull it up, pull up. Oh no, Imsim Cook, just chime in. I mean, I can just read through the comments. The arms are too big. Well, yeah, now that we've scaled the legs down this much. Something like that. Maybe these feet should be wider, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Does not want to scale that way. Maybe they're just fine. Yeah, I've been looking into some tools to do that so we can like both have our screens up at the same time. Usually our schedules don't quite line up which is why this has been cool too. It's been cool for me hanging out in your streams and chiming in on the level design. Thinking this is looking better. Need my smooth stronger back. There we go. I'm thinking that'll work. Is this what you're talking about? Because yeah, at some point we just gotta call this thing done. We could spend all day making little tweaks. That does look a bit better though. Kind of helps with the balance. You're talking about just this part. Something like that, is that what you mean? Nice. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I think that's pretty solid. Cool. Well, I think that just about does it for this guy. Yeah, good timing. I'm gonna call it here, I think. I've been at it for about 3 hours. 2 hours and 52 minutes. Yeah, so I think next stream we can focus on the mouth, basically. Probably do retopology on that whole front half and get it posed, opened up, and then we can sculpt on the inside. And then it'll just be a matter of retopologizing the rest and then just baking the maps and putting it all together. Cool, glad you like it. Yeah, it's a little more fun doing creatures sometimes, especially when they come together kind of easily. Let's see, I might make a few proportional tweaks to the tail. It's a little thin, but I might just do that tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, but next stream. Cool. Anybody got any last minute comments or questions before I hop off? Heck yeah. Alright, guys. Sweet. Yeah, I'm just gonna pop this over to Maya so I don't have to open up Maya and see this guy. There is something I kind of love about this. It's just this, like, you know, proxy blockout style. So many games are just this. So many indie games. Alright, so I just decimated that. I'm just gonna import it here. There we go. Now I'm ready to start the retopology. And make sure this scale is still more or less right. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's always good to check your mesh in Maya too, not just look in ZBrush, because ZBrush kind of has weird perspective. Go ahead and organize this a little. I don't like that. Awesome. Alright, well, thanks for hanging out, guys. Yeah, this was a fun stream.